said, and he was talking about this bailout, he is saying that we are fastly coming in America to a two-class society. And hear me on this. He said that on one society, you're going to have the ultra rich. On the other society, you're going to have the ultra poor. And whenever they raise the taxes, and with the cost of living, the cost of gasoline, all going up, it was going to force middle America, which is the main taxpayers, down to a third country poverty level.
And what people have to remember also, sir, is the middle class is actually an anomaly in history. I mean, for thousands and thousands of years, there has always been the rich and the poor, and we're just going back into that. That's what people have to remember.
Right, and Brian, the American economy for numbers of years has afforded a comfortable lifestyle for middle America. I've had that. I'm in that category. But with this bailout, and Ron Paul said a little while, well, a few days ago, that if the Congress passed this $700 billion, it was going to throw the American economy into a 10-year recession. I'm against it 100%.
Listen, we certainly do appreciate you calling. You've been very informative, and we're asking everyone to call and tell us yes or no on the bailout, and feel free to call anytime, and we certainly did appreciate it. So is there anything else you'd like to add today?
Well, I want to say thank you for hearing me out, but I am so upset over what's going on in Washington, in this country. I'm 79 years old. My life is lived. But I've got grandchildren and friends, young people. What kind of life are they going to have?
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you very much, sir. And if you'd like to call in, our phone numbers are 336-998-9375. You can call in if you're over in Iredell County, 704-873-1400. Our website, again, is therealnewsradio.com, and you can email us at onair@therealnewsradio. We're going to continue that discussion on the bailout. Go ahead, Brian.
And this may be something that Mr. Anderson may also be aware of. I just learned about a few days ago, the banking industry spent more than $300 million lobbying Congress and the White House to repeal the 1933 Glass-Steagall Act. It was closely regulating bank activities. Of course, this came about during the Great Depression, so hopefully it wouldn't happen again. Now, in November 1999, the Glass-Steagall Act was eviscerated after many years of lobbying efforts. It was replaced by the Gramm-Leach-Billy Act, which established the new market-driven, unregulated system for many financial institutions, the largest being the New York-based investment banks. This scant regulation, of course, banks could now engage in highly leveraged new banking practices in violation of sound banking practices. For example, commercial banks normally keep a 1-to-10 ratio between reserves and loans, but after this happened, unregulated entities embarked on highly leveraged financing, keeping as little as a 1-to-30, 1-to-40, even a 1-to-50 ratio between reserves and risky loans. This way banks could stick their neck out maybe another few hundred miles beyond what they could when we were under the protection of the Glass-Steagall Act.
Well, I tell you, not only is that amazing, we're going to go to a phone call from one of our listeners. Hey, you're on the Real News. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you're on the air. Hey, you're on the Real News, sir.
Okay, what I want to call in and tell people was about this gas shortage and all.
Yes, sir.
There's no gas shortage. There wasn't in '72 when I was hauling gas and oil. All this is a scare so that when they jump to $5, $6 a gallon, people will say, oh, at least we got gas. I'm glad we got gas. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I agree.
It's just bracing. What they're doing is scaring people to get the price up.
Yeah, they're indoctrinating the public to accept as normal giant fluctuations in gas due to storms in Texas that hadn't even hit land. And you know, growing up here, we've always had storms and gas prices didn't change. But if they'll give us some $6 a gallon gas, we'll love $5. And if they'll give us some $7, we'll love $6.
That's exactly right. It's exactly what's going on. Like I say, I was hauling it in 72, and there was no shortage then. There's no shortage now. It's just fear tactics to get the American public to do what they want them to do, which is pay $5, $6 a gallon. But I'd also like to throw this in. I want to appreciate Mr. Anderson and what he does, and I just enjoy hearing him every time he calls in.
Yes, sir. I agree with you.
And y'all's program is wonderful, and just keep up the good work.
I'd like to ask you, what's your opinion on this bailout before you get going? You for it? Against it?
Well, I don't know if I'm using the right words, but I'm saying it's communistic.
Absolutely.
Because if my business, which I'm in, fails, is the federal government going to come in and take over and bail me out?
No.
No. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right catering to the rich elite. That's what's running this nation, is the greed of our rich elite.
That's right. What we ought to do is all pitch in and buy us a monument and put capitalism on it and then rip underneath it.
Yes, sir.
It's over. It's so sad. It's sad for, just like Mr. Anderson said, for those of us that have children, grandchildren, to have to grow up in this hypocrisy of a democracy.
Well, just last year, to give you an example, there was over, and this is just Wall Street bonuses, not their salaries, their bonuses last year was over $100 billion.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then, you know, Cheney gives $1 billion. Our country is broke. It's not just bankrupt, it's 10 trillion past bankrupt, but yet we still mosey about the world doling out the cash by the billions, not millions, but billions. And they're asking us to accept the fact that our grandchildren will be on the hook for this. It's unacceptable. The people ought to be in the streets crying foul. And they are in some places. And because it's raining today, we're not going to start. But we're going to start every Saturday meeting somewhere and protesting and giving out DVDs and giving out the Bill of Rights. Is there anything else you'd like to add today, sir?
Well, I just think it's a shame whenever Richard Nixon took away our gold standard, and the paper that they're printing now is just, it's not even worth the ink that's on it. And I think it's a shame that we had to leave the gold and silver standard.
Are we not in a sad shape of affairs here in America for some actual leadership, an actual leader that we could trust? How long has it been since we had one?
It's over 20 years I can remember we've been voting for the lesser of two evils. And now we've got two more major evils running, and they throw in the third-party candidate, which is going to pull away from one or the other. It's just like whenever Perot ran. Perot told us some truths, and a lot of people voted for him, and it's going to be the same way. The whole country's just in a mess.
Extreme mess. Well, I appreciate you calling, sir. Feel free to call back anytime, and we enjoy hearing from you.
Well, Farron, you and Brian, just keep up the good work, and we appreciate what y'all are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
To change the subject slightly, there's something else that I have to report today, and this is something else that we all ought to have a moment of silence and bow our head in shame to live in America and have to find out this is the truth. A California appeals court has ruled that homeschooling of children is illegal unless their parents have teaching credentials from the state. California is now on the path of being the only state to deny the vast majority of homeschooling parents their fundamental right to teach their own children at home, said Michael Smith, president of the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. The court overturned a lower court's finding that homeschooling did not constitute a violation of child welfare laws. California courts have held that parents do not have a constitutional right to homeschool their children, Justice H. Walker Krosky said. The decision stunned parents of the state's roughly 166,000 homeschooled children, while the court claimed that it was merely clarifying an existing law and not making a new one. The decision leaves the parents of homeschooled children at risk of arrest and criminal prosecution. Did you just hear me now? If you live in California and you try to homeschool your child, you can be arrested.